Hey everyone, in this video we are going to be correcting sentence 2 and 3 under set 5. Sentence 2 says, Tom Dempsey of the New Orleans Saints was born with only half a right foot. In 1970, he kicked the longest field goal in pro football history, 63 yards. In this sentence, we have some capitalization errors to fix. We also have a comma splice. We have a spelling error, and we're going to add a colon. So first, let's address our capitalization errors. So in our sentence, we have several proper nouns that need to be capitalized. So we should capitalize Dempsey, New Orleans, and Saints. Next, we have to address a comma splice. Again, remember, a comma splice is that grammatical error where we're using just a comma to connect two complete sentences. Like we've talked in the past, a comma isn't strong enough to hold two complete sentences together. So, to find our comma splice, we need to find the end of our first sentence and the beginning of the second. As we can see, the end of our first sentence is foot, the beginning of the second is in. We'll see that comma splice listed there. To fix our comma splice, I'm going to attempt to use the strategy where I keep the comma and add a fanboy. The fanboy that I'm going to use in this sentence is the word but. Now my sentence says, Tom Dempsey of the New Orleans Saints was born with only half a right foot. But in 1970, he kicked the longest field goal in pro football history, 63 yards. Adding that fanboy makes my sentence, or my comma, strong enough to combine those two complete sentences. The next thing I'm going to correct is our spelling error, and it's that word field. And lastly, I have a colon to add. Remember, a colon is that symbol with the two dots, one on top of the other. And a colon can be used to say, this is what I mean. So in our sentence, it's saying that he kicked the longest field goal in pro football history, 63 yards. So we can use a colon to show our audience that when we say the longest field goal in pro football history, we mean 63 yards. And now we've corrected our sentence 2. Sentence 3 says, the cactus finch, which lives on the Galapagos Islands, displays a trait rarely seen in birds. It uses a cactus spine to dig for insects in trees and cacti. In this sentence, we have some capitalization errors to fix. We have a comma splice as well. And we're going to add a comma to show that we have a non-restrictive phrase. So first, let's address our capitalization errors. First, although we're talking about a specific bird, neither of these words needs to be capitalized. So I am going to lowercase the c and the f. Next, I need to capitalize the proper noun, Galapagos Island. Doing so would fix my capitalization errors. Next, I need to address the comma splice. Again, the comma splice is right here after birds. Birds marks the end of my first sentence, and it marks the beginning of my second. Commas aren't strong enough to connect sentences alone, and so I need to replace this comma with one of the 4 strategies we've talked about in the past. I really like using semicolon. I know that semicolon is strong enough to connect 2 complete sentences, so I'm going to replace the comma with a semicolon. And lastly, I have to add a comma, or 2 commas rather, to show that I have a non-restrictive phrase. Remember, a non-restrictive phrase is simply a phrase that adds additional information to the sentence. So when I read the sentence again out loud, I want you to listen for appropriate pause. A pause might indicate where a comma belongs. The cactus finch, which lives on the Galapagos Islands, displays a trait rarely seen in birds. It uses a cactus spine to dig for insects in trees and cacti. You probably heard a pause after finch and a pause after islands. That's because this phrase, which lives on the Galapagos Islands, is simply additional information that's not really needed. Because this phrase is just extra information, it's our non-restrictive phrase. I can show that it's additional information by having a comma after finch and a comma after islands. And that marks our non-restrictive phrase. If you have any questions about how or why we've corrected the sentences the way we have, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks for watching, everyone.